Hello everybody and welcome back to Aero Braking Simulator, where we are currently simulating aero brakes. So we need to go around for another aero brake here. There's not going to be very many of them left. We are very close to getting this thing to where it needs to be. So let's come on in for one more aero brake pass. I'm not sure how many we're going to need, but as I said, it's really not going to be a lot. So in we come. There we go. That was very close to entering the atmosphere, actually. And now we are in atmosphere. So let's just get that drag going here, and let's get this braked right on down. We are definitely going to be having this vehicle be destroyed this episode. That is 100% happening. So that looks good. We can see here our apoapsis dropping on down. We're not on 2x. Okay, there we go. That'll do the trick. So, the question is, what is our overall periapsis? I see it's dropped by 5 kilometers from the original at this point. So that's looking wonderful. And we can see our surface velocity has really braked a whole lot. No doubt about that. Wonderful. I wonder if this thing would be buoyant in the Atraitus atmosphere and we wouldn't actually get to the crush altitude if we were able to withstand the atmospheric heat. That would be interesting. We might be able to withstand the atmospheric heat, but we'll see where this ends up at this point. We're just about, wow, we're still a minute from the periapsis at this point. These aero brakes are doing a lot of work now. 3,074 at this point. Honestly, based on how much our apoapsis has dropped here, it's either this one or the next one that's the final aero brake pass, I think. Our apoapsis has dropped by like 1,500 kilometers. And it's going to drop another good chunk here. Yeah, this is it. This is the final approach. I'm 99% certain about that. We're going up right now, but all we need is for this apoapsis and periapsis to flip around, and I think that's going to happen. We covered more than half of it there. So that looks wonderful. If I had known that this would be the final approach, well, I still think that putting in a cut where I did in the last episode is probably good, because this approach is going to take a while. But yeah, this is very good. Very good indeed. Just watching for this apoapsis to be within the atmosphere. But yeah, we're definitely flipping this around. And yeah, we're within the atmosphere. We are not coming back out of the atmosphere here. So at this point, it's a question of, do we burn up? We are suborbital at this point. And that's great. We are very happy to see that. I mean, this is not considered an impact, but what does impact even mean on a gas giant, right? It's quite a... So we need to slow down by a lot, but the question is, how does this craft get destroyed at this point? Does it get destroyed by burning up, or does it get destroyed by being crushed by atmospheric pressure? It's going to be one of those two things. Absolutely. We are approaching the apoapsis now, which means we're going to start going down, and once we start going down, there is no coming back up. So we are descending as of now. Fantastic. And the only question remains, at this point, burn up or crush. Either way is fine. I'm just curious to know which. We have managed to aero brake a lot. No doubt about that. I kind of want to try... Okay, yeah, this parachute isn't going to be deployed because of the deployment and inflation is done by altitude. Not atmospheric pressure. Okay. We could try to deploy them. I don't think it's going to work. But there we go. I just deployed them, and I don't think that we will get to the point where they will deploy. This is well above the crush pressure, so as long as we survive long enough, we'll get there. And I'm wondering, is this more or less drag force when it's extended? It's definitely more. Okay, so this is more drag force extended. That's good to know. We're going to have to keep an eye on temperatures. I am absolutely expecting temperature to be a big problem. You can see here the ambient temperature is very, very low, but that's going to go up. And our overall temperature, it's going to get kind of absurd. So at this point, we are traveling at about 16 kilometers per second, and we don't have a heat shield on this. We didn't exactly plan for this. This wasn't a primary mission. So we'll see how this goes. No heat shield on here means this could get spicy. Wonderful. Our periapsis is now considered so that's looking great. We are the deepest we've ever been in this atmosphere at this time, and we can see that our solar panels are giving us quite a lot of drag force, about 5 kilonewtons at this point. So overall, our overall drag force, is there a way to see? Okay, so our drag loss is currently about 7 meters per second squared. Noted. So you can see here our drag loss and our acceleration, they're not really, the drag loss isn't compensating for the acceleration. So what this ends up meaning is that our vertical velocity is going up considerably, our lateral velocity is coming down nicely, but our vertical velocity is going up, and that's understood. We're not very surprised about this. I would be shocked if we make it to the crush altitude without a heat shield. That would be remarkable, I think. Our Mach number is dropping, so, you know, that's nice. We're currently at Mach 4.3, and that's going down. We can see our overall surface velocity is dropping considerably. I'm looking at our overall temperatures. Temperatures are looking good for right now. Air density is still very low. So our craft has very, very low mass because we burned off all of our fuel. Low mass, high drag means this. The reason we have high drag, of course, is because these solar panel arrays have a crazy amount of drag force when they're undeployed. I don't know why they're this big. 12 kilonewtons is insane. But we're slowing down very, very rapidly at this juncture. Let's see. We're heading towards the Terminator, so that's understood. We've got a fair amount of time there, though, in theory, so that looks okay. We're traveling at about 13.3 kilometers per second laterally, and that looks fine for now. We're slowing down very rapidly. So we can see that our drag loss is currently about 17 meters per second squared. Our acceleration is up to 23.1, though. But we definitely want to see that drag loss continue. Now, keep in mind, we're on 2x speed here, so that is absolutely understood. We're down to 12.5 kilometers per second. Hey, there's that 10 kilometers of Atraitus aero braking. I don't think we're going to get another tier of that. I don't know if there even is another tier. But if there is, based on the pattern, it's probably 100K. That's not going to happen here. I can tell you that right now. We do have a fair amount more to be lost. That's for sure. Is there a way to see those completion tiers? Milestones. Exploration? Ah, I see. So that's visited all landmarks and completed all milestones, contact with the surface, elliptical orbit, and flyby. But what I'm interested in seeing is if we go to Atraitus, okay, aero braking. There are a few more tiers, 100 kilometers per second and then 1,000 kilometers per second. We're going to achieve neither of those in this particular run. That would require multiple aero brakes, and I'm not too concerned about it for now, but that's neat. So we're currently down to 11.4, and I'm wondering about our current temperature levels. Temperature levels are still looking nice. This is starting to creep up on the solar panel arrays, and you can see the ambient temperature is really starting to rise, and that's going to cause us heat issues, as we're still going very fast, and we're going to be generating a lot of heat. I still expect us to burn up in the atmosphere here rather than hit the crush altitude. We have managed to aero brake a lot. That's nice. But I don't think it's going to be enough. I really don't. We're down to about 21 meters per second in drag loss. So, I mean, that's really not bad. I should say meters per second, because that's what this is. We're losing 21.5 meters per second every second as of right now. And every second is, or was, 2 seconds. We apparently dropped off of fast forward. Let's go back to fast forward. There we go. And that ambient temperature still coming up here. The air density is still rising as well. So let's see how this goes. This was, remember, a quite minimal aero brake. But we have no heat shield. So we'll see. Drag loss is catching up to the acceleration here. That's interesting. Our vertical velocity is about 2.5 kilometers per second, but that's going to start going down soon, I think. Because we're seeing this drag loss really catch up to our acceleration. Drag loss is now past our acceleration, which means that now we're slowing down in every category here, in theory. We're still gaining in the vertical velocity, apparently, but our overall velocity is dropping considerably. So that's great. If we look at the gravity here, it's 18.2 meters per second squared. We're losing like twice that to drag right now. So we're down to about 7 kilometers per second, and maybe we are going to hit the crush altitude. That would be nuts. The temperature on our solar panels is creeping upward, though. So that's absolutely noted. We've still got a lot of speed to shave off here. We've got 6 kilometers per second more of surface velocity. If surface even means anything over Atraitus. But you can see here, our lateral velocity and our vertical velocity are nearly equalizing. Well, they're not quite nearly equalized, but they're getting closer to equalized. We're going to be at a 45-degree angle here shortly. So that looks great. Our lateral velocity going down tremendously. We're down below 5 kilometers per second at this point. I want to check in on our heat levels here on our solar panel array. If we lose our solar panel arrays, okay, deepest dive here, 2,000 kilometers. Okay, we're going to find out how deep into Atraitus' atmosphere we can go, that's for sure. But I'm worried about the temperature here. If we lose these solar panels, that is the vast majority of our drag force. So our lights are now taking heat damage. I don't care about the lights. That's fine. They can go away. Yeah, they're going to go boom. No doubt about that. That's going to happen. You can see the ambient temperature here is really rising. Our speed is going down. We're down to about 3.2 kilometers per second. But you can see temperature, it's below the ambient temperature. We're going to have heat issues. We're now down below 3 kilometers per second. So I don't think we're going to have too much heat damage, like in terms of our friction. I don't think that's going to be too bad. Okay, there go the lights, or one of the lights. There goes another. Oh, that put us into a tumble. Actually, I think it's because we're aerodynamically unstable here. That's fine. We can just flip ourselves around to prograde at this point. So we'll do that. And we can see our drag is still going up. And this is mostly going to be due to these guys still. That temperature still increasing. Noted. We're still slowing down. So far, so good. We're no longer in 2x. I want to be back in 2x. There we go. So our current velocity is at about 2 kilometers per second. We've slowed down tremendously. But this ambient temperature, that's rough. We'll see if we can survive that. In theory, this should be bearing the brunt of the heat at this point. That's at 400 Celsius. Ambient temperature is 500. This is a hot, hot atmosphere. No. So we're continuing to slow down here, but our slowdown has, well, slowed down. That's for sure. We'll see if we're ever able to get these parachutes out. I kind of doubt it. We're still very high up at this point, but we're down to around 1,500 meters per second. The atmosphere is getting thicker, of course, and we're going to continue to slow down. But heat is going to be a major concern going forward. And this was always going to be the case with this particular craft. So this is looking reasonably okay for now, but I'm sure we'll start taking heat damage eventually. I don't know what the maximum heat on these is. That would be an interesting thing to know. But we're down to about 1,300 meters per second and continuing to go slowly. As you can see here, our lateral velocity is basically nil at this point. Our vertical velocity is okay. It's definitely dropping. In fact, it's dropping considerably. We're losing about 23.2 meters per second to drag, but that's being somewhat balanced out by the gravity of Atraitus, right? The Atraitus gravity at this altitude is 21 meters per second. So that means we're slowing down by about 2 meters per second. And as you can see, that's fairly accurate. So we're just going to bring this on down. We have a long ways to fall here still, but we're a long ways away from the core atmosphere still. Like, this still appears to be extremely far away. Like, look at that. We got a ways to go. So we're falling at about 1 kilometer per second at this point. Let's get zoomed right back in here. And how's that temperature doing? Creeping upward. We're still a little below ambient. Okay. So that's noted. We're falling on down here, and the ambient temperature is just going to continue to increase. Eventually, I do believe that we will probably burn up. I don't think we're going to get to the crush altitude, which is 50 kilometers. We've still got over 1,000 kilometers to go on that front, and we're slowing down considerably, to be sure. But I mean, this is still like 890 meters per second, right? The question is there a point where we're going to be buoyant here? That would be interesting. We might actually reach a point of buoyancy in this atmosphere if we're able to survive the temperature, which I feel like is kind of unlikely, but that might be a thing. That would be weird, but it would make sense because these are essentially big empty tanks at this point, right? And there's another tier of the deepest dive by exceeding 1,000. Excellent. Sea level is considered to be where the atmosphere reaches 1 bar. Oh, so we are really, really deep in this dive then. We exceeded 1,000 kilometers. We'll see how deep we can go. What even is tier 3? I don't know. I don't want to pause it to find out, so I guess we won't do that for now. View active contracts? No active contracts. Yeah. So we would have to go into here and open the career, and then, yeah, that automatically closes when you click out of it. Unfortunate. So you can't have the career open and the game running at the same time. That's very sad. But look at this. We are barely decelerating at this point. So I do want to be in 2x speed. There we go. But yeah, we're barely decelerating. So this is still going to take a while to get us down to a reasonable altitude. And the ambient temperature is still rising. So that is somewhat problematic for us, but to be honest, we seem to be doing pretty okay with the heat for now. Emphasis on for now. Eventually, I think that that'll be a problem, but for the moment, we seem to be doing okay. Surprisingly okay. So we're losing 1 kilometer like every quarter, or not quarter, every like third of a second or so, approximately. No, it's a little bit less than that. What am I talking about? We're losing 1 kilometer every like 1.3 seconds right now. There we go. So that's about right, and we're just going to continue to let this drop on down. This is, of course, still going to take us a while to figure out exactly how deep this can go. But we'll get there. We're going as fast as we can. Unfortunately, unlike KSP, we can only go to 2x in the atmosphere. I do wish we could take this up to 4x. That would be nice. But alas, here we are. So our drag loss is currently 22.7 meters per second squared, and the gravity is 22.1 meters per second squared. So that's definitely interesting. So we can see that our acceleration, not very much at this point, as you can see from this. We're down to 610 meters per second and continuing to slow down. At a certain point, we may reach buoyancy, but remember, these chutes are set to deploy at 575 kilometers. We're currently at 775 kilometers. It'll be real interesting to see if the chutes actually deploy and if they just immediately burn up on deployment, because, I mean, it's really hot here. So we'll see what happens with that. When we're in 2x, we're losing approximately a kilometer per second at this point in terms of altitude, and we'd definitely like to continue to bring that down, but I'm wondering if this cloud shell, like the visible cloud shell, is the crush altitude. And there isn't, like, an atmosphere to fly through other than this. That'd be a little disappointing, but I'm thinking that's what we've got here. I'm definitely thinking that's what we've got here. Well, this is fine for now. I don't know if I can make a save at this point. I guess we can find out. We can quick save. That's for sure. But I'm just thinking about how long it's going to take us to drift down to the surface here. I'm thinking this may require another episode. I would prefer it didn't. But we'll see what the timing is looking like. We've got a couple minutes yet. So we're down to 700 kilometers at this point. And to be honest, I'm going to disable all of these guys. As of right now, I don't want to be flying slower. I want to just have this come on down as quick as it can. So gravity is currently 22.5 meters per second squared, and the drag loss is 22.9 meters per second squared at this point. So we're going to reach a point of equilibrium there very soon. At which point, well, it's not even necessarily going to be equilibrium. We'll see what it ends up feeling like. This is going to be interesting for sure. We're not slowing down by very much at this time, and that's absolutely fine by me. I want to continue to advance forward. We should be on 2x. I don't know why I keep removing it off of 2x. We should absolutely be sticking to 2x, because we have limited time here. So the current ambient temperature is approaching 700, and our overall temperature seems to be reasonably decent. Now, we could increase our surface area by trying to flip this around, but I don't think we'd be very successful at that. At least not until the chutes deploy. So for now, I'm going to keep us in this attitude, and I'm just keeping an eye on our drag loss compared to the gravity. It's still about 0.3 above. So we're still slowing down here. We're at about 480 meters per second, and we're still 600 kilometers up, which is, of course, insane. That is absolutely bonkers. Okay, well, it is approximately time at this point to put a cut in. I'm going to quickly try to make a save here and see what happens. Okay, let's resume this flight and see where it puts us. Okay, hold velocity prograde. Apparently it forgets our velocity lock. That's good to know. But otherwise, that appears to work just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in here, and next episode, we might be significantly further in the atmosphere. It kind of depends on how we're going to do on the heating, right? That really is the core issue, and it's looking like the heating is probably relatively okay. But I might let this drop for a while off camera. we'll see. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Andy McGard, Dark Horse, Xenocyte, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.